All the other engines, they'll tell you so. He huffs and puffs and whistles, rushing to and fro. He's the really useful engine we adore. He's the one. He's the one. He's the really useful engine that we adore. He's the one. He's the number one. Thomas the Tank Engine. He's a really useful engine, you know. Sir Topham Hackwell, he told him so. Now he's got a branch line to call his very own. He's the really useful engine we adore. He's the one. He's the one. He's the really useful engine that we adore. He's the one. He's the number one. Thomas the Tank Engine. Little blue train, he's always there whenever you need a hand. If you need help with a situation, who comes into mind? He's the one. He's the one. He's the really useful engine that we adore. He's the one. He's the number one. Thomas the Tank Engine.
Thomas is very proud of his branch line. He thinks it's the most important part of the whole North Western Railway. He has two coaches. They are both old and need new paint, but Thomas loves them very much. Their names are Annie and Clarabel. Annie can only take passengers, but Clarabel can take passengers, luggage and the guard. As they run backwards and forwards along the line, they sing little songs to each other.
Oh, come along, we're rather late. We're
coming along.
They don't mind what Thomas says to them, because they know he is trying to please the Fat Controller. And they both know too, that if Thomas is cross, he's not cross with them. He's cross with the main 9 engines that make him wait. One day he had to wait for Henry's train, which made Thomas very cross.
How can I run that branch line properly if Henry's always late? He doesn't realize the Fat Controller depends on me.
Thomas blew his whistle impatiently. He wanted to leave, but he had to wait for Henry's passengers. At last Henry came.
Where have you been, lazy bones?
Oh dear. My engine system's been out of order. No one understands my case. And now I have to do double the work with shutting my own trains, which is making my systems worse. You don't know what I suffer.
Rubbish. I know what's wrong with you. You're too fat. You need exercise.
Rude much?
Stop! You forgot me!
Come along, come along.
But Clarabel didn't want to come along.
Stop, Thomas! Stop!
What's wrong, Clarabel?
I've lost my nice god! I've lost my nice god!
Oh no! Thomas, stop! We haven't a guard! We haven't a guard!
But he was in such a hurry he wouldn't listen.
Clarabel, try and put on your brakes.
I can't without my god!
Thomas Thomas didn't stop the train until he came to a signal.
Bother that signal! What's the matter?
I don't know, but the guard will come and tell us in a minute. They waited and waited, but the guard didn't come.
Where's the guard?
That is what we've been trying to tell you.
We've left him behind!
Thomas felt very silly. Then the driver, the fireman, and all the passengers looked, and there was the guard running as fast as he could along the line, with his flag in one hand and his whistle in the other. He was very hot, so the driver poured him a drink, and then he told everyone all about it.
I'm very sorry, Mr. Guard.
It wasn't your fault, Thomas. I tripped over, that's all. Look, the signal is down. We can go. Let's make up for lost time. Annie and Clarabelle were so pleased to have their guard again that they sang to Thomas all the way.
As fast as you like.
As fast as you like!
They reached the end of the line quicker than ever before.
Just in time.
Cutting it close that time, Thomas.
Hello, Glenn. I had a spot of trouble.
You think you're having trouble here? You should hear the rumors from the main line. Gordon and Henry don't want to do shunting.
Oh dear.
Glenn was right. Gordon and Henry were lonely after Thomas had left. They missed him very much. They now had more work to do and had to fetch their own coaches. They didn't like that at all. Altogether, the big engines were causing Sir Tom and Hat great trouble. One day, Gordon was about to go to work when he saw James, the splendid red engine, still in the sheds. He had been there for a full week.
Not doing any work again, James?
Oh, Gordon, I can't come out. You see, a few days ago, I was rough with my passenger train, and I banged the coaches enough that it caused a leak in the brake pipe. It had to be mended with newspaper and a passenger's leather bootlace. The Fat Controller says I have to stay in the shed. I'm so miserable. He may take my red coat away and have me painted blue.
Oh dear. How funny, James. At least you'll have a grand collar like me.
Yeah, well, at least I don't get stuck on hills.
You talk too much, little James. A fine, strong engine like me has something to talk about. I'm the only one strong enough to pull my express, the Wild Nor'wester. When I'm not there, they need 2 engines. Think of that. I've pulled that train for years, and I've never lost my way. I seem to know the white line by instinct.
Every wise engine knows, of course, that the signalman works the points to direct trains to run on the right tracks. But Gordon was so proud he had forgotten. Soon after Gordon left, the Fat Controller came to the sheds.
I see you are sorry, James, and I hope that you will be a better engine. You have given me trouble. People have been laughing at my railway, and I do not like that at all.
I'm very sorry, sir. I will try hard to behave.
That's a good engine. I want you to pull some trucks for me.
James was delighted and happily puffed away. He soon found his trucks and shunted them together.
Do be careful, James. Have you got some bootlaces ready?
Soon James backed down onto his train. Oh! We want a proper engine, not a red monster. James took no notice and started when the guard was ready.
Come on! Come on!
We won't! But James didn't care and pulled the screeching trucks out of the yard. The trucks tried hard to make him give up, but he kept going on. Sometimes their brakes would slip on, and sometimes their axles would run hot. Each time they had to stop and put the trouble right. And each time James would start again, determined not to let them beat him. Give up, you can't pull us, you can't.
I can and I will, I can and I will.
Slowly and surely, he pulled them along the line. At last they saw Gordon's hill ahead. Look out for trouble, James. We'll get them up there before they know it. Don't let them stop you. James went faster and soon they were halfway up the hill.
I'm doing it! Will the top never come?
Then, with a sudden jerk, it all became easy.
I've done it! Hooray! It's much easier now!
But his driver shut off steam. They've done it again. We've left our tail behind. Look! The last trucks rolled backwards down the hill. The coupling had snapped. But the guard stopped the train and got out to warn other engines.
So that's why it was so easy.
James backed the other trucks carefully down the hill.
What a nuisance and how silly things trucks are. There might have been an accident.
While James' crew replaced the coupling, the guard stopped Edward, who was pulling a passenger train. Soon James was ready for another try.
Shall I come help you, James?
No thank you. I'll pull them myself.
Good! Don't let them beat you!
James slowly struggled up the hill again.
You're doing well!
I can do it!
He pulled and puffed as fast and as hard as he could.
I've done it!
They reached the station safely, and James was resting in the yards when Edward pulled up. Then James saw the Fat Controller.
Oh dear, what will he say?
But the Fat Controller was smiling.
I was in Edward's train and I saw everything. You made the most troublesome trucks on the line behave. After that, you deserve to keep your red coat. Now, James, I need you to do some shunting at Knapford, please. Off you go.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
James soon arrived and started by shunting Gordon's coaches to the platform with the next Wild Nor'Wester. They were all shining with lovely new paint. He was careful not to bump the coaches as he shunted them together. Coaches followed him smoothly singing, "We're going away, we're going away."
I wish I was going with you. I should love to pull the Wild Nor'Wester and go flying along the line.
Gordon, with much noise and blowing of smoke, got ready to back onto the train. The Fat Controller was on the train along with other important passengers. As soon as they heard the guard's whistle blew, Gordon started.
Look at me now, look at me now.
The coaches glided after him.
Goodbye, little James. See you tomorrow.
James watched as the train disappeared, then went back to work. He pushed the trucks into their proper siding, and then went to fetch the coaches for Henry's train. James had just brought these coaches to the platform when he heard a mournful noise. There was Gordon trying to sidle into the station without being noticed.
Oh, hello, Gordon. Is it tomorrow?
Gordon didn't answer. He just let off steam.
Did you lose your way?
No, it was lost for me. A stupid signal failed. We were scritched off the main line and onto the loop. We had to go all round and back again.
Perhaps it was instinct.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for the confusion and delay, and I promise you will be given a new train at once.
He then walked over to where James was.
Gordon can't pull the Wild Nor'Wester. Will you pull it for us, James?
Yes, sir, I'll try.
Well, what about me, sir?
Well, Gordon, you'll have to do James's shunting while he's gone.
Shunting? Oh, the indignity.
So James was coupled up and everyone got in.
Do your best, James.
Come along, come along.
You're pulling us well, you're pulling us well. Bridges and stations flashed by, the passengers cheered, and they soon reached the station. Everyone said thank you to James, and the Fat Controller was very impressed.
Well done. Would you like to pull the Wild Nor'Wester sometimes?
Yes, please, sir.
But Gordon wasn't happy about this. He had to shunt trucks in the sidings and get a goods train ready. To make matters worse for Gordon, he found out that he had to pull the train.
Disgraceful. Disgraceful.
He was still complaining when he backed onto the turntable. The turntable was on a windy place by the sea, and if he wasn't on it right, it put it out of balance and made it hard to move. Gordon was now in a foul temper, and the wind was strong. His driver tried to make him stop in the right place, but Gordon wasn't trying. The fireman tried to turn the handle, but Gordon's weight and the strong wind prevented him. It's no good, your tender upsets the balance. If you were a little tank engine, you'll be all right. Now you have to pull the next train backwards. James and Thomas was talking at Ellsbridge Station when they saw Gordon approaching, tender first pulling a goods train.
Look, Thomas, it's a new tank engine. Oh, it's only going back to front.
Hello, Gordon. Playing tank engine, are we? Good idea. Maybe you should scrap your tender and get a nice bunker instead.
Gordon said nothing.
Never mind, Gordon. I know something that'll cheer you up. Thomas wants to go fishing.
You're right, little James. That did cheer me up. Ha 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 ha.
Silly stick in the mud.
That night, the three big engines had an indignation meeting in the sheds.
It's shameful to treat tender engines like this. I lose the Wild Nor'Wester and have to take a goods train backwards, making people think I'm a tank engine.
Everybody keeps teasing me about those bootlaces.
I know! It's like everyone's laughing at us these days.
On top of this, Sir Topham Hatt makes us shunt in dirty sidings. Blah!
Something must be done.
Agreed, and I know just what to do. Engines, tomorrow, we are going on strike.
Henry and James looked at each other. They wasn't sure about this idea, but they agreed it was worth a try.
That settles it. We'll do it tomorrow. Sir Topham Hatt will look silly.
Next morning, the Fat Controller sat in his office listening to the noise outside. The passengers were angry. Just then, the station master came in. Excuse me, sir, but there's trouble in the sheds. Henry is sulking and there's no trains. The only passenger train running is Thomas's branch line train. The passengers are saying that this is a bad railway.
Indeed, we cannot allow that.
So the Fat Controller rushed over to the sheds, where he found Henry, Gordon and James looking very cross.
Come on, Henry, it's time for your train.
Henry's not going. We won't shunt like common tank engines. That was Thomas's job. We're important tender engines. You fetch our coaches and we'll put them. Tender engines don't shunt.
Oh, indeed. We'll see about that. Engines on my railway do as they are told.
With that, he hurried away to find Edward.
The yard has never been the same since Thomas went to run his branch line. Leave those trucks, please, Edward. I want you to shunt coaches in the yards.
Oh, thank you, sir. That would be a nice change.
That's a good engine. Off you go.
So Edward did all the shunting and prepared coaches for all the 3 big engines that day. But that night in the shed, Gordon was still grumbling.
You, Edward, are a disgrace to the tender engines. Shunting indeed.
There's nothing wrong with shunting, Gordon. All trains need to have it done.
Yes, but it's a job for common tank engines. You have black wheels.
Yes. Hey, what's wrong with black wheels? I have black wheels.
It's a saying, little James. It means Edward is not a proper tender engine.
Gordon, that was a bit rude, isn't it?
It's true, Henry. Edward shall be considered a tank engine.
This made Edward upset. The next morning he was still unhappy. Gordon was blowing steam at him rudely.
Bless me, what a noise!
They've all hissed me, sir. They say tender engines don't shunt. And last night they said I had black wheels. I haven't, have I, sir?
No, Edward, you have nice blue ones, and I'm proud of you. Tender engines do shunt, but all the same, it looks like I've got to take a drastic action. We do need another tank engine around here.
So he went to a workshop where he saw lots of different engines. At last he saw a smart little green engine with 4 wheels.
That's the one. If I choose you, will you work hard?
Oh, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a good engine. What's your name?
1350, sir. But I would like to be called something else.
In that case, I'll call you Percy.
Thank you.
So the Fat Controller brought Percy back to the yards.
Edward, meet Percy. Will you show him everything?
It'll be a pleasure, sir.
Percy soon learned what to do, and they had a happy afternoon. Then Henry came up, hissing as usual, when suddenly... Henry jumped and ran quickly back to the sheds.
How beautifully you wheeshed him, Percy. I can't wheesh like that.
Oh, that's nothing. You should hear them at the workshops. You have to wheesh loudly to make yourself heard.
Later, Percy was heading to Elsbeth to pick up more trucks, when he heard a loud whishing sound. There was a blue tank engine hissing steam from his safety valve in an alarming way. There's too much steam.
Oh dear, I'm going to burst! I'm going to burst!
Thomas's driver and fireman put his fire out and asked Percy to pull them to the station.
Don't worry, we'll soon be there.
I've got such a pain! I've got such a pain!
Soon they stopped just outside the station and uncoupled Andy and Clairville. Percy put Thomas, who was still whooshing alarmingly, on a siding out of the way. While the guard went to call for an engineer, Thomas's driver found large notices saying, "Danger! Keep away!" and hung them all around him. In no time at all, an inspector and the Fat Controller arrived.
Cheer up, Thomas. We'll soon figure out what's wrong.
Sir, we can't get any water into his boiler. So the feed pipe is blocked. I'll just have a look in his tank. The inspector climbed up and peeked in his tank. Then he climbed down. Excuse me, sir. Could you please take a look in the tank and tell me what you see?
Certainly, Inspector.
So he climbed up, looked in, and nearly fell off in surprise.
Inspector, can you see fish? Gracious goodness me! How did the fish get there, driver?
He then explained that the water column at Elsbridge was under repair.
Well, Thomas, so you and your driver have been fishing. But fish don't suit your pipes. We must get them out.
They all took turns at fishing in Thomas's tank, while the Fat Controller looked on and told them how to do it. When they caught all the fish, Thomas's driver boiled some potatoes, while Percy's crew made a fire. They then had a lovely picnic supper of fish and chips. The Fat Controller was the first to finish.
That was good, but it would be best, Thomas, if you don't go fishing again.
No, sir. I won't, sir. Engines don't go fishing. It's too uncomfortable.
Good to see you're okay, Thomas.
Yes, and thanks for helping me. What's your name?
1, 3, 5... Oh, sorry, it's Percy.
Hello, Percy. Welcome to Sodor.
Thank you.
The next morning, Sir Tom Hat sent Percy to the steamworks for a new coat of paint. Soon he was painted in northwestern green with red lines and a number 6 on the side of his cap. He then raced away to find Edward. He soon found Edward and Thomas.
The Fat Controller sent for me. I expect he wants help.
Shh! Here he comes!
Well done, Thomas. You've been quick. Listen. Henry, Gordon, and James are sulking. They say they won't shunt like common tank engines. So I have shut them up, and I want you and Edward to run the line for a while.
Common tank engines indeed. We'll show them.
Percy will help too.
Oh, sir. Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Thomas and Edward worked the main line, greeting each other as they passed. Percy puffed along the branch line. Thomas was anxious about Annie and Clarabelle, but both Percy and his crew promised that they would take good care of them. There were fewer trains, but the passengers didn't mind. They knew that 3 other engines were being taught a lesson. Gordon, James, and Henry were cold, lonely, and miserable. They wished now that they hadn't been so silly. For several days they'd been shut up, and longed to be able to go out again. At last the Fat Controller came to see him.
I hope you 3 are sorry, and understand that you are not so important after all. Thomas and Edward have worked the main line nicely, and Percy has done a good job looking after the branch line. But I'll let you out now if you promise to behave.
Yes, sir.
We will.
That's right, but please remember that this no shunting nonsense must stop.
Then he told Percy, Thomas, and Edward that they could go and play on the branch lines for a few days. And the 3 engines ran off to find Annie and Clarabelle in the yards. The 2 coaches were extremely happy to see Thomas again, and they went out for a run at once. Edward and Percy played with the trucks. Stop! Stop! But Percy and Edward continued to shunt trucks until the trucks and vans were in their sidings. Later, Edward was about to leave the yards with some empty trucks for the quarry.
See you later, Percy. Remember to be careful when you're out on the main line, and whistle to the signalman that you're there.
I won't forget, Edward. Goodbye.
With that, Edward went on his way, leaving Percy alone in the yards. He didn't mind that a bit. He enjoyed watching trains run by and being cheeky to the other engines.
Hurry, hurry, hurry!
This made the other engines cross. After a great deal of shunting around the railway, Percy was out on the main line, waiting to be switched so he could get home. Unfortunately, Percy forgot Edward's warning, and the signalman didn't know he was there. Percy waited and waited. The points were still against him, so he couldn't move. Thomas came along.
What are you doing, Percy?
I'm waiting for the points to change. Oh no!
There, rushing straight towards him, was Gordon with the Wild Northwester.
Gordon, stop!
Get out of my way!
Gordon stopped just in time. Percy opened his eyes, seeing Gordon's brothers just a few inches from his own. Percy was frightened and began to move.
I won't stay here. I'll run away.
Percy, wait!
Thomas, wait!
Percy went straight through Wellsworth, and he was so frightened that he ran right up Gordon's hill without stopping. Thomas tried his best to catch him, but Percy was going too fast. Soon Percy began to tire, but he couldn't stop.
I want to stop! I want to stop!
At Mary Station, the signalman saw that Percy was in trouble and quickly changed the points to an empty siding. Percy puffed into an empty siding, ending in a big bank of earth. He was too tired now to care where he went.
I want to stop! I want to stop! I have stopped!
Soon Thomas arrived. He was tired, but he rushed away to get help. They came back with some workmen, and they began to dig Percy out.
Never mind, Percy. You'll have a rest and a drink, and you'll feel better.
Presently, Gordon arrived. He had given the Wild Northwester to James to come to Percy's aid.
Well done, Percy. You started so quickly that you stopped a nasty accident.
Thank you, Gordon. I'm sorry I was cheeky, Gordon.
Percy, you were clever to start.
Gordon helped pull Percy out of the bank. After that, everything on the North Western Railway improved. The big engines now think better of the tank engines. Thomas is now a wiser engine when it comes to running his branch line. Percy's still cheeky, because that's the type of engine he is. But he's good friends with all the engines now. He now shunts in the main yard and helps Thomas on his branch line.
Thanks for looking after my branch line, Percy.
Yes, thank you.
You were very good.
Thank you.
See you later.
So you're Percy I've heard about.
Who are you?
I'm Glenn. I hope you like it here.
I do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Even Gordon now enjoys shunting.
I like some quiet work for a change. I'm teaching these trucks some manners. You did well with those coaches, I hear, James.
Yes.
Good. We'll show them.
And he gave his trucks a bump. Now all the engines are good friends. And no engine ever feels prouder than those on the Fat Controller's Railway.
Picture a land where the sky is so blue, a storybook land of wonder, a magical island just waiting for you. Island of Sodor will make your dreams come true. Imagine a place where the sun always smiles, the valleys go green as can be. The friends that you love are all waiting for you. Island of Sodor will make your dreams come true. Children, follow the dream to a land of make-believe. The island of Sodor, a magical land where dreams come true. Follow the road that leads to your dream, over the hills and mountains. Look for the skies, with stars in their eyes. Island of Sodor will make your dreams come true. Children, follow the dream to the land of make-believe. The island of Sodor, a magical land where dreams come true. The island of Sodor, magical land where dreams come true.
That's James.